Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Queensland High School League of Legends. Well, I say championship, but it's our secondary competition for this semester, the Regional Rift Playoffs, encompassing the entirety of Queensland. Each part of Queensland split up into 4 different regions, and we're playing week to week. Of course, my name is Mitchell Replays Anderson, and of course, I'm joined every week by Max Fummel von Yuumi. How you going this special Tuesday, Max?
It sounds like you're trying to get rid of me, but nope, I'm still here, and I'm still excited for today. We're going to be getting a matchup within the top half of the ladder in, I believe it is the Northern... Metro North. I was going to say Northern Brisbane, Metro Northern. It's pretty much the same thing. As we take a look at that standings right there, you can see Indrapilli and the Dakabin Dragons each tied in first place. Now, it'd be exciting if they were going against each other. Not quite what we're getting today. Instead, Dakabin will be going down to take QASMT on. It is currently tied in that 4th place position. So just on the outside looking in, if QASMT wants to get to the top of the ladder, this is going to be a match that they're going to have to win. So a lot of earnest and a lot of pressure on that team.
Yeah, I mean, Dakabin Dragons were our winners of the lower bracket, I believe, in the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship. Of course, the beginners bracket also is what we used to call it. So they've moved up now to the open bracket. So showing that they were able to match it with some of the best teams. This bracket does feature, of course, Indrapilli, who are our... I'd say they didn't win, but they are currently our Queensland champions, going to represent the state at nationals. And of course, Hillbrook Hellcats, who came 3rd overall, plus the Kelvin Grove team, which is obviously Kelvin Grove has had a very important part in the Queensland high school scene over the last few years. So, or last few years, I said last year, as we've only had 2 of them so far. So good to see all these sides up the top again, very similar and quite a strong region. Obviously, Metro North and South are probably the 2 strongest, but again, we've got many contenders in other regions as well. I mean, even the
Regional South actually looks pretty good as well.
Could have some credit as well. Somerset Spartans taking out the Savage Play of the Week last week.
Yes, and there was a clip that's in the running for this week as well, actually. Somerset, they know how to put on a show. Now, we have been discussing, I feel like, on this desk a fair bit that, like, Darius does kind of tend to be an S-tier champion within our tournaments in and of themselves. There always seems to be some Darius clips. We're about now to show you some of those highlights were sent in last week, running for that Lenovo Savage Play of the Week. And I think we're going to see more evidence as to why Darius is that S-tier as we take a look at those right now.
Welcome to the Legion by Lenovo Savage Plays of the Week. To start off week 3, we have a Darius pentakill by PXTIR from McGregor Mac GG. For our second entry, it's Life is Techers from the BBSC Night Owls, showing off exactly what the new champion Yone can do. For our final entry this week, it's You're a Wizard from the Somerset Spartans with the second Darius pentakill to finish off the list.
Fantastic clips provided, of course, to the 2 Darius pentakills, and they're proving once again that champion is either an S-tier champion or an F-tier champion with 2 massive highlights. And interesting, 2 different players, 2 different games, but same champion, same pentakill. Interesting to see that's happened across the last 2 years. Remember, if you are, of course, a player in the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship, I mean, you'd be playing your game right now, so you're probably only watching this on replay. But remember to submit your clips, save them, especially today, since tomorrow is patch day 2, so your replays will be deleted tonight. So make sure you're getting those clips and sending them into the Discord. I believe there's a submission link in that Discord for all you players that are in there. So make sure. And also, if you're watching the stream, if you see something you think could be worth it, you could potentially clip it and send it in too. So make sure you guys are constantly making sure you're up to tabs on that so we get more submissions every week for our Lenovo Savage Player of the Week. And of course, for this week's winner, I believe it's...
You are a wizard.
Yeah, you are as a wizard from Somerset Spartans is going to take that one out with this. Darius Pentakill, very low health, was able to stay alive. And I mean, when you've got 2 Pentakills, it's very hard to assess which one's better because, of course, Pentakills are so hard to come by and rare. But here, we decided this one was better just because, mainly because of this bit, really.
Yeah, I mean, both of them were very similar in the regards of you have a Darius getting low, and you have another team that doesn't seem to have executioners calling in order to stop the pentakill from happening. However, the one that stood out more for You're a Wizard was less sort of team support, more I'm just going to go in solo. I'm going to show off my happy feet, dodge a couple critical abilities, survive on under 500 health, and still get that pentakill. Also, if you took a look at where that was happening, he was flashing over walls, he was trying to end the game. Just was at a more critical moment, I feel like, with that second pentakill. However, I do want to shout out Yon for getting into this list as well. Interesting that the new champion is already pulling off some pretty savage plays. Kind of curious to see where that will go in the future.
Yeah, I mean, especially given the fact that the target market for that champion is definitely the high school bracket of players, if you'd say. So I've seen a lot of Yon. I mean, I've only seen Yon during non-school hours. If I play at midday, I don't see much Yon. If I play at 3, 4 o'clock, a lot of Yon pops up. I don't know where the correlation is there, but something interesting to take note of as we are very close to jumping into Champions League between the Dakabin Dragons and the Queensland Academy's Maths, Science and Technology, I think is the name of the school.
It's an acronym.
I know it's an acronym.
It is the acronym. I feel like I've just been noticing there are more and more acronyms in high schools and in esports overall. They just keep popping up everywhere. But yeah, QASMT, Queensland Academy Science, Maths and Technology, taking on Dakabin. I think I got that right. Sorry if I got that wrong, but I believe that is correct. And if not, well, everyone feel free to write me angry letters in the future. As we take a look at these lineups real quick, for QASMT, best Yuumi is in the top lane, Wafffle in the jungle, Angelicxz in mid lane, PhatPhanpy on AD carry, and pyten in support.
And their opponents today on the red side, the Dakabin Dragons, up on the top lane, ChaosV in the jungle, Asian Kid. In the mid lane, Nin 78. In the bot lane, it's LegendarySettGod and Monkey King main on the support. I mean, we did see Dakabin Dragons. I feel like we've seen them in this tournament already.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Maybe it was it 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, okay. Because, again, very similar names. The mid laner is different this time. Yeah. And I believe Dakabin Dragons did win.
Yes, they won, and they won in a dominating performance as well, if I recall correctly. So this is a team that has been kind of on that fast track to success. I really want to see them against a team like Indrapili, but that will have to wait because first they got to get over QASMT as we do get into our picks and bans. Going to be very interesting to see if once again Darius continues to remain that sort of S-tier pick within our league and our league alone. Aphelios, 200 years, still very viable and won't be played today.
No, it will not be played. Straight onto the ban list there for the Aphelios. Again, I mean, if you're looking towards Dakabin Dragons, I believe ChaosV actually did take the Darius last time we were out, and of course got a bit of inspiration from those Lenovo Savage Player of the Week clips there, so maybe you could see him pick that up again. As I said, definitely players to note are ChaosV and Asian Kid for Dakabin Dragons, the two we've seen perform again on this stage before. And interesting to see what QASMT are going to bring to the table here as they are, climbing up the standings a bit. Haven't really played against any of the good teams if you look back through their well, I say good teams, but teams that are high rated in the standings. So this is probably their first big test to see if they can actually match it with the top 2-3 teams, Hillbrook, Dakabin, and of course Indrapili State High School's Yone will not be played today, and Blitzcrank also taken off the ban list.
Yeah, and we're going to see a removal of Yasuo as well, so kind of varied in these bans right now. Nothing really S tier I feel like is being taken away, but instead focusing more on comfort picks. And when you ban away Blitzcrank, that just tells me something you don't want to deal with is a Blitzcrank with those hooks. However, find it curious that Thresh was kind of left up. Instead, I do rate Thresh considerably higher to a Blitzcrank in terms of sort of that playmaking abilities. See that last ban go through. It will be an Evelyn, actually, so some respect thrown towards Wafffle. And instant hover and lock in on the Kennen, and that is a very interesting top lane pick.
Someone's been watching a lot of LCS, that's all I'm going to say. Kennen is rising to popularity. I don't think it's blind pickable just yet. I don't think it's that good, but it's a very versatile champion. You can either build him for that solo split push lane or more AP team fight style without kind of compromising on anything there. And Shen, which has been one of the best top laners over the last month or so, locked in here for Dakabin Dragons. And Shen, a champion I would highly recommend for any high school team, as he's just so versatile. He gives you so many options with global pressure, and of course matched up there with the Jarvan IV team. We haven't seen too much if you're following pro scenes or even in this scene, but a very strong, simple to play jungler that gives you that easy to go engage, easy dive, and good synergy with the Shen too, given the fact that of course that Stan United can come in and give Jarvan a shield as he's jumping in to get a 5-man Cataclysm. On the other side, Volibear locked in to counter that Jarvan in the jungle, the unstoppable on the ultimate, as well as being able to disarm those turrets, makes dives very easy to accept. And potential Galio over here will be locked in. Galio been one of the strongest mid laners as well. Just so good against really anything. There's not much that counters the Galio. He's just able to sit in mid lane and soak up a lot of pressure. The only thing you can really get good against him is like a Lucian, maybe something, but even then, the W damage resistance is very beneficial to him in that mid lane.
I'm going to be a little bit disappointed on a personal level, though, if the Sylas gets locked in, which it does. Okay. I'm now sad. Do you want to know why?
Why are you sad?
Because before Angelicxz locked in the Galio, there was that Echo hover, and we were having that wonderful discussion before coming live on air about Echo versus Sylas, and I would have loved to see it play out on the Rift to see where that would have gone. I'm really liking Dakabin's team composition right now, though. The Sylas is a smart pick, and what I like about Dakabin is that they're putting together something that's actually relatively easy to pull off. Like, these are simple champions with a lot of global pressure. The Galio into the Sylas means you now have 2 champions with global ults on this Dakabin side. Last time they played, we were like talking up how great their team decision making was, and they're picking a comp around that right now, so they're playing to their team's strengths. Dakabin looking very good at this stage of the pick and bans.
Well, I find what is very funny is you know, probably the most premier combo that when you think about dive engage comps happened back at Worlds 2017 when Jarvan Galio was like mega OP, and pretty much every single game had Jarvan Galio in it as good, that's good. I like that. As Max just walked up to the monitor we're watching this on and pointed out the Lux ban. But given that Sylas is such a good pick because it allows you to have those enemy teams' ultimates, you know, Jarvan Galio is the optimal combo, but of course Sylas now has access to that Galio ultimate, so you can still bring in the heroic entrance there for both sides. As Caitlyn, the 80 carry pickup after 2 bot lane focus bans have come through from either side. Caitlyn, of course, raised into prominence, gives you that early game pressure down in the bot lane, and Vayne will be picked up to kind of counter. Interesting decision. Maybe opting more towards late game, and obviously will be confirmed with that Lulu. 2 very similar team comps locked in, but this Morgana still available. Kate Morg, the 2 S-tier bot laners, and they've been both given over to this ridiculously strong comp from Dakabin.
I feel like Dakabin has hit like all your check marks in particular for what you want to see from a high school team comp.
Yes.
The most important check mark, of course, as I pointed out, banning away the Lux. If you want to have success and if you want to get the replay seal of approval, you ban Lux out of the game. But again, I have to reiterate, the ease of play coming from this Dakabin side right now, I think plays to the strength sort of that level that these high school teams actually are at and want to be at. You want easy to execute team comps because you want to focus more on your team play, less on your individual mechanics. That's how you'll get further in tournaments like this. And Dakabin's team composition, not only is it easy to execute, not only does it have that team fight collapse capabilities, but it's also made up of strong champions in this current meta right now. Like, yes, J4 probably doesn't see as much pro play, but every other champion here is incredibly strong. And it's not like J4 is irrelevant either. Like, a J4 can always get picked up in any sort of team comp and still be incredibly strong. So what Dakabin has put together, it's almost entirely like what I want to be seeing, and then some from these high schools, and it gets me very excited.
It gives you that nice combo. The only thing I can maybe say with Dakabin is they don't have a lot of DPS, because Caitlyn kind of falls off during that mid game, and before she gets the attack speed items up, she's pretty much like just a crit machine, like just using those headshots to get the damage out. And versus a Vayne Kennen, there's a lot more DPS on QASMT's side, and I do like the fact that QASMT's got a very good comp too. And I don't, I think if any team was drafting against him, that usually in these games, like these are both 2 very nice cohesive drafts that worked well together. They're both competent of full strong champions. I mean, Vayne's only champion is probably not meta, but in this elo works very well as you know, games tend to go later. Vayne tends to scale, has incredible DPS and tank shred. Again, not as good into Shen Jarvan, just because obviously Jarvan is a little bit less tank. Like, he's not like a Sejuani full tank jungler, but Jarvan fulfills that same role. Shen, of course, has his Spirit's Refuge, so we'll block some as auto attacks. But again, Vayne has the
condemn,
condemn and the silver out of it. So I think very like both these comps are very well. Sorry, very well. Very well.
No,
A
they're
good
good.
comps that have been drafted well.
They're
They have
good.
very clear win conditions. It's going to be a massive team fight. There is no Galio delivery system outside of maybe like a big bear running into them, right? I mean, I suppose there's no set on the other side, so Volibear can actually engage.
Yeah. You also have the Kennen as well, who is going to want to run in and out. There's a couple things about the QASMT side, though, that I'm curious to see how it'll pay out. You mentioned the bot lane before, and while, yes, I do agree the damage will probably be on that bot lane, the blue side. However, range and harass, I'm actually leaning more towards Dakabin. One of the strengths of the Caitlyn Morgana is...
In lane, this Vayne Lulu is going to get stomped.
Exactly, and so it's going to be up to QASMT to find an avenue to get them out. And typically with the team comp like this, you're going to be looking actually at the top lane, maybe going for that AD Kennen to try and poke at the Shen out of lane. Unfortunately, AD Kennen actually isn't that great into Shen in my experiences. I could be incorrect on that. And you probably actually want to go the AP Kennen teamfight Kennen with the team composition they've put together.
100%.
So while QASMT, like, they have a strong composition, they are going to struggle in that early mid game, which is where you want to punish a Caitlyn typically. It's going to be a very tough challenge for them, and as a result, I think a lot of prowess and a lot of pressure is going to be on Wafffle. It always comes back to the jungler with me, right? That's just sort of where I always bring it back to. But I feel like Wafffle is going to have to be a very proactive Volibear, who typically is a champion that does kind of power farm a bit early. He doesn't have the best pre-level 6 gank, but might be having to try to force some situations. QASMT, I love their composition. I just worry that they kind of did get outpicked in this matchup. So I'm going to see if they have the individual mechanics, prowess, and decision-making to kind of overcome the position they put themselves in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they put themselves in a bad position. It's still good. It's a good draft. It's just the Dakabin draft is better. But I think the one thing that QASMT do have is I 100% I reckon we'll see a 5-man bot lane play at like level 6. I think when Kennen gets 6, if he's not TPing into a ward placed there by pyten, well, because obviously Kate Moore are going to be shoving the lane. They're going to be pushed up. They're going to be susceptible to ganks, and it's going to be relying on AsianKin to hover and ChaosV to be ready with that standing line to come and counter a gank. So I'm expecting a full 5v5 down in that bot lane. Kennen's going to TP in, press the ult, run through.
We're going to see 2 heroic entrances.
Galio's going to come in. Sylas is going to come in from the mid lane. The jungler is going to rock up, and it's just going to be a big 5v5 team fight in that bot lane. I mean, maybe not right, but hopefully.
Hopefully.
Like if I was QASMT and you want to get this Vayne ahead, the way you're going to do it in lane, obviously Vayne's going to be down probably 10, 20 CS if she's not dying. If she dies, then she'll be down maybe less CS, but more gold overall.
And you know what I reckon is going to happen? In true Queensland High School League of Legends fashion, this 5v5 chaotic team fight down bot is going to happen 2 minutes after the dragon has already been taken for no other reason besides we want to fight.
There'll be 0 kills.
Of course.
There'll be like 10 low health bars and no kills.
Exactly. That's what we're going to have happen. I like that. Write that down. We are psychics, believe it or not, as we are getting ever closer to kicking this game off. Real quickly, though, before we get to the riff, I do want to throw a big thank you to our sponsor, Legion by Lenovo. We can talk more about them after this game, but the TLDR, without Legion by Lenovo, we wouldn't be able to put together events like this. They have some of the best cutting edge technology out there. They're constantly out and about supporting high school esports and high school programs. They want to get involved. They want to build that better future for esports, and they recognize, hey, it starts in the high school, right? It starts by training up that next generation of students to get out there. So a big thank you. They work with Intel, as you can see. I always make jokes about how it's a 10th generation, and I'm going to do so again. I mean, 10G that's twice as much as 5G, so it's twice as good. Exactly. The dual board combined the CPU and the GPU for optimal FPS. And Legion by Lenovo. I mean, a big thank you to them.
Yeah, of course, every week helping us provide this broadcast to you guys. Thank you, Legion by Lenovo. A fantastic gaming brand. If you're ever looking for a new laptop or any gaming equipment, definitely go and look at Legion by Lenovo for their gaming paraphernalia.
That said, we are now on to the Rift. On the blue side, it's QASMT. In red, it's the Dakabin Dragons, and already moving as a team. Dakabin going to try to find a bit of an invade. They might be able to catch out PhatPhanpy, who does tumble away to safety. Instead, they'll just get a bit of vision. I'm not sure how many members were spotted out, but either way, it doesn't look like QASMT are going to go for the counter invade.
No, I mean, it's definitely one of those comps with Caitlyn Morgana. You've got that invade potential, of course, if she lands a Dark Binding, and of course, if Caitlyn goes E first, you're able to get that combined CC. You know, Jarvan has very good damage early with being able to put his flag down and increase that AP. So there's a stun on Sylas, a taunt on Shen. You know, if anyone gets caught in that invade, they're definitely going down level 1. I mean, unoptimal maybe start for the mid laner and just for Shen really, but when you're getting a kill, it's probably worth it to go for that, and you probably don't even need the taunt. You can probably still go that Q. Starting up.
What I like about too with Dakabin's movements is that they've actually invaded bot side, but they're still going to be starting jungle top side. And I'm very curious if QASMT are going to account for that possibility happening. I know sometimes it's kind of easy to go into cruise control and just assume, oh, we saw them bot side. That means their jungler starting bot side. And QASMT, if they're not careful, they're going to lose track of where Asian Kid's pathing may lie.
And they're fake leashing too down here in the bot lane, which I like. I mean, if anything, if you want to put extra spice on it, get Morgana to throw a Q out so she's missing mana. And then, like, that's always, I always know if bot lane comes out and they're both full mana, I go, okay, they didn't leash.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if they've leashed or not.
Well, Caitlyn actually came out of lane missing mana. Not the Morgana, but one of them did come out of lane missing mana, so worth noting. And J4 is one of those junglers that can pull off a cheeky level 2 or level 3 gank. So very curious to see if QASMT are going to account for this, or if, you know, Asian Kid is even going to find an avenue to gank. Judging by the pathing right now, he would be looking more at mid lane, not bot lane, because LegendarySettGod and Monkey King main should be able to shove in the likes of PhatPhanpy and pyten. However, very, very curious decision making from Dakabin. I think it is going to pay off, and QASMT, it's up to them to react.
I mean, Dakabin have got the perfect setup for this early game. All 3 lanes have a very easy gank setup. Of course, Morgana binding, Sylas stun, Shen taunt. And their opponents are quite killable too. Maybe here we go.
So it will be Wafffle going for that early gank. Now, we did highlight this as something he had to go for. It was a late auto attack, but ChaosV still forced to flash. Wafffle not going to go under tower for it. Still a very critical advantage for best Yuumi.
Slight mistake there by ChaosV also leveling up that W second. You should probably save that taunt in case you get ganked early on, but did it very well to avoid it. Does have no flash, so maybe Wafffle will look for a regank up there in the top side. Of course, Kennen does have that stun he can set up. You don't see Kennen very often. I haven't seen that champion in obviously a long time outside of LCS, where he's been picked up a little bit recently. But Shen, probably I'd say the best champion at losing lane in the game.
I would argue Mordekaiser.
Mordekaiser?
Yeah, Mordekaiser.
Nah, because he needs damage, right? If you fall behind on Mord, if you lose lane on Mord, you kind of go, oh no.
I suppose, but at the same time, you're still going to be relevant late game with Mordekaiser just because of the ultimate available. But then again, you can say the same thing about KSV. There's a lot of strong weak side top laners, and that's one of the most fun things about top lane is even in losing, sometimes you wind up winning late. Only lane where that feels like it can happen. Every other lane, it feels like once you're behind, you're just useless and out of the game. But top lane definitely has the most recovery available, as we see ChaosV right now still getting poked out. I'm curious too, is without that flash, if best Yuumi actually does commit to an AD build and looks to keep poking, harassing, and punishing ChaosV for having to burn that early summoner. But just looking at the CS, it does feel as if best Yuumi is doing quite all right. Flag and Drag gets 2 down below. That is the Dark Binding connecting as well. Pyten will go down. The chains he see too much for QASMT to handle.
Yeah, and that's just the strength of that ball. And as I said, the Jarvan IV has all 4 lanes available for ganks up. And that was a beautiful flag and drag to grab 2 of them. Did it on the edge of fog. So, you know, didn't get spotted out, so they couldn't flash away. It was excellently done there by Asian Kid, and even picked up the Vayne too and burnt the flash on Pyten, who did go down. Perfect to see. And another gank here in the mid lane.
Yeah, not done yet. There's going to be Angelicxz forced to flash. 2 successful ganks in a row for Asian Kid, as both junglers have actually found some successful pathing so far in this game. Either flashes or kills secured for their team, and that's the kind of jungling I like to see.
Yeah, I mean, and even there in the mid lane, I was going to say that the hardest lane for the J4 to gank is, of course, that mid lane, given the fact that Galio has the Aftershock available, has a lot of tankiness, that's why he's so strong. Also has that magic damage passive shield built into. Obviously, taking away from Sylas there, so it's a little bit hard to kill with no flash. Means the next time that Asian Kid wants to come towards that lane, as he's barely surviving versus Raptors.
The Kennen did get the stun down, so that should stop that engage from happening down below. Bot lane not going well for PhatPhanpy and Pyten at this stage. Over double the CS for LegendarySettGod. Already a kill as well on this Caitlyn, who typically you want to see a Caitlyn get to 3 items before they become a serious threat. Well, definitely an accelerated pace through the first 5.5 minutes or so right now, and
bad trade.
that could be happening sooner than later. A bad trade for ChaosV. Actually, it's getting worse as things move on. Best Yuumi going to try to run him down, but needs to be a little careful. Meanwhile, down in the bot lane, the Condemned does not connect with the stun. Black Shield on LegendarySettGod means it will be PhatPhanpy and pyten stepping back once again.
Interesting that Best Yuumi didn't flash there to get that last auto on the Shen. Already used that Spirit's Refuge. Means he would have gotten the auto, gotten the stun, and I reckon he would have been able to get the kill and get out as well because his E would have been back off cooldown. But obviously, not going for that trade. Level 6 as well. Oh, this is potentially a dead Vayne, but Caitlyn not in position. Take advantage. Was walking up the river to grab a ward there. So, and then another huge wave crashed into this bot lane. And honestly, I think the scariest thing is this Sylas. Now that he has access to level 6 and multiple ultimates, he can easily steal any ultimate on the enemy team outside of maybe the Vayne, and it'll have a decent impact in this team fight. And of course, could maybe even hold it for the team fight and choose the one he needs accordingly. I could definitely see him stealing a Volibear ult, coming down here with Angelicxz and going for the dive on this bot lane because health bars are already low. The poke is coming through, and Angelicxz have cleared out all the vision, as you can see now in this bot lane. So if I was Sylas, I'd go look for this Volibear just to grab that ultimate there and then come through down the bot lane and grab a couple kills.
Yeah, especially with an Infernal Drake on the map as well. More prowess to kind of take control of the bot half of the map, and when you have the tools and the resources to do it, Dakabin, now it is that time to possibly find a way to pull the trigger.
I would have to say though as well, ultimate is available for Best Yuumi, the teleport as well, and there is a ward placed behind this Caitlyn and Morgana. You can see in the middle of the 3 bot lane brushes there, so potentially could look for a TP play down there in the bot lane, and that could be a very nice play. It's actually over the wall. Oh no, the ward just expired, never mind. So can't go for that anymore, have to move up and get another ward in there, but if that is the case, that could be spelling instant death here for the Dakabin Dragons, and could look to turn this around and get the Vayne back on track. He was already down 25 CS in this matchup, given the fact that she's constantly CSing under the tower and doesn't have anything to assist with her getting those ranged creeps low enough.
I was looking forward to our possible level 6 teleport fiesta down in the bot lane. It still might come, especially with Wafffle heading back towards the top half of the map. Still has a control ward, which has just been placed as well. So there's your teleport ward, perhaps for Best Yuumi to make their way down below. Ping's going down on the dragon, as I do believe Angelicxz has started it. And over the wall goes Wafffle, going to attempt to steal and pulls it off, and using the ultimate to escape over the wall. It's the heist of the century, or is it? Again, a late flash means Wafffle gets out alive, and QASMT, Wafffle in particular, just came up huge.
That was so sneaky with bot lane and mid lane pyro. They still lost a dragon. So as much as it's good from QASMT and Wafffle to get in there and get the kill, it's poor setup there by Dakabin to not have control as ChaosV now going for a heavy trade onto Best Yuumi, and you can see he's gone for the AP Kennen build here, and that's actually so much more optimal than the AD into Shen. Of course, Shen wants to build some armor and has actually more preference against those armor attack-based champion, obviously due to the fact that his E is so beneficial. Sylas here is frontline must have misclicked on the minions to get that healing back from his W, and potentially in range of going down to Angelicxz in that mid lane, but it will not be the case.
Yeah, no, Nin78 is going to go ahead and reset that lane. Very unfortunate for Nin, as that is going to be a lot of lane priority loss. Meanwhile, up top, ChaosV actually going in straight to a slicing Maelstrom. Did not want to take that trade, buddy, as Best Yuumi secures himself the solo kill.
Yeah, ChaosV a little bit interesting going for that trade with such low health, and knowing AP Kennen is the build. He doesn't, the Spirit's Refuge doesn't help you much when he's got a ability damage coming at you as down in this bot lane. Starting to shove away back, but again, this Caitlyn Morgana range control is just so strong, so much poke. Interesting to see they haven't actually set up a freeze yet. If you set up a freeze on your tower as this Caitlyn, there is almost nothing that the enemy team's going to be able to do. So you look at her ridiculous range as she's poking at those creeps. Obviously, will fall off in the mid game and kind of struggle a little bit, but until then, she's just going to be way too strong to deal with, and it's going to be very difficult for this enemy team to do much as Morgana, maybe looking for potentially a kill, but just going to clear out some wards in that tri-brush around the dragon, as the next dragon will be up in 3 minutes, and there's going to be probably Dakabins as well, so I think...
This is actually interesting right now because Nin does not have too much support. Actually, we are going to see Shen making his way to make a bit of a save on the mid laner. That does cause QASMT to back off. Back to this bot lane, though. I know you're talking about seeing a freeze before, but I almost would have liked to see a lane swap out of Dakabin. No longer the case now. I would have liked to see it about a minute or two ago to emphasize more pressure around that Rift Herald. However, after that play from QASMT, they kind of conceded the top half of the map as well, so it will be a Rift Herald secured by Dakabin. another way of getting it. I just use at the cost of a Shen ult for a Rift Herald. I think that is worth it, and Dakabin almost getting away with one in the top half.
Yeah. I want to see Morgana step up more too. You see them down there trying to look for plates on that tower. I've only gotten one plate so far. I mean, almost a second it will fall with this next wave crashing, but Morg needs to walk up more and assert her dominance.
Like that?
Yeah, exactly like that. She's kind of sitting back a bit too much and letting Kate get hit by the tower. But of course that ultimate will be blocked very close to going down. But now
no mana available for LegendarySettGod, which means no ability to escape. But the Dark Binding onto Wafffle might buy enough time for Dakabin to sneak away, especially with Asian Kid arriving on the scene. You can see Angelicxz looking to possibly jump in with that heroic entrance, but they also might be caught out by Nin78, who also had the heroic entrance available. We're edging ever closer to our bot lane chaotic fight. In fact, Shelly has joined the fray, and QASMT wants no part of it. They're going to retreat for now.
Yeah, of course, Shelly is going to take out that tower. Maybe they're going to continue this push and look for the second one. That's where we could maybe see our fight. Of course, TP still available on best Yuumi and Stan. You know, no globals available for the Shen. Very rare to see Shen at a global disadvantage, but it was that little bit of miscommunication in that mid lane. Of course, using the Sten United when Nin had already flashed over the walls. The second Rift Tower charge will be allowed to be get off by QASMT. Interesting to see they didn't walk up and try to contest that, but obviously Lulu and Wafffle, they needed to reset on the Volibear to get that health up after being poked down by this dominating bot lane, and now is when you want to see the lane swap come in. Of course, that bot lane tower is no longer going to be available. It's still early enough in the game that you have value of Sylas being in those mid lane. He still needs a few more levels of being solo in that lane, so ChaosV should probably rotate here, let the bot lane come up to the top lane and start pushing this next tower, get some more plate gold onto this Caitlyn, and of course secure a Rift Herald. Of course the dragon is up in 50 seconds, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for that, but maybe we'll have to see exactly what the red team does. I always still like them to see push those plates, because I think giving up a second dragon when you have the early game pressure probably isn't the worst, but ChaosV
committing for it. Again, Slicing Maelstrom available, forces the flash out, but I do think best Yuumi wants a tower shot, a second one, but no auto from the Kennen. ChaosV has, like, you know how when you are scared in a high stressful situation, you either flight or you fight? ChaosV needs to turn that around and start fleeing a bit more than fighting, because it seems like every time his health gets low, his reaction is just to go in, and now Wafffle is going to go in himself. ChaosV, again, opts to go for the fight, and that will pay off in his favor as the tower takes best Yuumi down. A 1-for-1 trade that really was not necessary.
It's two misplays there by best Yuumi. Of course, that all in with the Slicing Maelstrom could have secured a kill, but made a misplay, autoed the wrong minion. Didn't play around the ranges correctly there, and again, should have waited for the Volibear to go in and take tower aggro before you move up. Of course, that's one of my favorite things on Shen. That's why it makes him such a good weak side top laner. He's very, very difficult to dive, given the fact that his taunt means when you're taunted, you're going to auto attack the champion you've got taunted, which means if you're under a tower and you auto attack the champion, you're going to activate the aggro there involuntarily, and then therefore you're going to take up those tower shots. There's not much you can do. That's why Shen's actually a really strong matchup into the Urgot.
Oh, I thought for a brief moment Wafffle was going to get another steal and get away, but this time Dakabin a bit more prepared, but so is Angelicxz, who does get the taunt to save his jungler's life, but at what cost? Cataclysm goes to the flag and drag, but it's the ace in the hole that takes the bear down. Flash by Angelicxz, attempting to escape back to their own tower. Nin78 on the hunt. I'm not sure he will get there. It's still 5 members of Dakabin now pushing into the mid lane, and this tower cannot be saved by one stone gargoyle alone. Lore or not, best Yuumi is going to have to try to pull something, and actually gets caught by the taunt. A double taunt from ChaosV forces the fight. The Slicing Maelstrom out of Nin78 gets 2 kills for the side of Dakabin. They'll get that mid tower as well, as this red side is blowing the game wide open.
Yeah, and this is exactly what happens with these early game comps as they start to move around the map. Caitlyn's got a bunch of gold, already completed this Storm Razor, so got her first bit of crit. She just one-shots people with those headshots. Means they're going to stack up more quickly too with the passive on that Storm Razor's edge. You don't see many 80 carries builder, but for Caitlyn, it's still part of that core fundamental build. That and IE are the first 2 items she rushes, then she goes more towards rapid fire cannon, etc. But just so strong now, pushing down this mid lane. This bear can't do much against the Caitlyn. She sets up her line of traps, making it very difficult for anyone to come near the sniper from Piltover. But now the mid lane tower has gone, we should see them rotate up towards this top side, or potentially stay in the mid lane, let Sylas rotate up there and look towards this next Rift Herald, which I think they could use quite effectively in order to almost end the game, given the fact that the amount of pressure they have as both the blue buffs get taken down simultaneously, and Ocean Soul will be given this game. I don't think we'll get to Ocean, so I think the game will be well and truly over before that happens. If maybe Dakabin were able to secure that first Infernal Dragon, then Ocean Dragon could be in their sights, but a very, very dominating performance here out of the Dragons.
I just want to point out, It has now been 4 games I have cast since seeing a Cloud Drake. It has been the exact same order, 4 games now in a row for me. Infernal, Mountain, Ocean Soul. Just something to think about. Not too hard though, as I do agree Dakabin in prime position to actually completely take this game over. And I think one of the key reasons for that is, as we discussed before, LegendarySettGod was probably going to have a weaker moment in that mid-ish game. However, the sheer lead and advantage the team has accrued for Dakabin means we're not really going to see a weak moment unless Caitlyn gets caught out like this. The Black Shield can only do so much. Condemned to the wall is Monkey King main, and that's going to be the kill. Heroic entrance actually for QASMT. I'm not sure that was entirely necessary. LegendarySettGod should be able to escape from this. Down below, though, it looks like Angelicxz actually trying to force the fight. Angelicxz trying to hunt down the SettGod and does get the kill, but at what cost as Nin78 arrives on the scene to get one back. Teleports coming in, that will be Best Yuumi joining the fray. Slash slicing Maelstrom gets to the back line. Asian Kid will go down. A late ult out of Nin78 won't be enough to save him. QASMT just fought their way back into this game, and now all they have to do is take down this Shen for an unofficial ace. He will escape, and our game just got interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big mistake there from Dakabin, the classic 80 carry mistake too. Over pushing in a lane, you see it every single time you play in low elo. The 80 carry gets a bit strong, walks up a bit too far and gets caught out by the rest of the team. Of course, very immobile. Even going back in to try and fight the Galio again to go down was obviously a little bit overconfidence there from that early aggression put out in that bot lane. And a little bit of, I think, honestly, if Nin78 popped that Volibear ultimate pretty much when he grabbed it, he would have probably won that fight and stayed alive. That extra health would have given him enough to get a second W up and off there. And actually, you can see he's instantly gone for the I call it the Super Soaker, but it's called the Hextech GLP to get that slows down on the enemy team. I've never seen Sylas ever build this. I've seen him go proto belt into Ludens or proto into like just like whatever you normally build on Sylas. Interesting to see. I mean, it could definitely give it a bit of extra utility, but I think what his team lacks is actually damage. I was kind of going to say in Champions Select, I never got around to saying it, that, you know, Sylas needs to get fed if he's going to do a lot of damage. I've never seen an even Sylas or even a Sylas that's slightly behind kind of put out that same DPS. I haven't, his damage profile is one that's, it's quite weird for a League of Legends champion where he does a lot, but you need to be in the middle of the fight doing a lot. And individually, they don't do much, and you kind of need to land a bit of everything.
I mean, we're seeing this right here, I think, case in point, as the trade goes terribly for Nin78. Still all good for Dakabin, as they were able to pick up the Rift Herald during the exchange, but I do believe that Nin might go down, barely able to escape Angelicxz. I love it when that happens, when you explain a point and then we get to see the example of it on screen.
Very rare that it happens in
I know, it is.
League of Legends.
ChaosV in a lot of strife, though, will go down solo kill for Best Yuumi. Shelly does get the charge off, but won't be able to take down the tower. However, with Shelly up top, that does mean Dakabin can make a play for this Ocean Drake down below. They need to be careful. You do have QASMT around and in the area, and they should be able to recognize something's up, especially with Asian Kid now spotted. Although, if Angelicxz falls, that's a very serious blemish for this blue side. Still gets the kill on the Nin78. Angelicxz should go down, I would imagine, to Asian Kid. Yep, okay, there is the 1-for-1. Dragon has been started. I still think we might see a crazy attempt on the steal.
Yeah, of course, Volibear does have that ultimate available and flash as well.
Here we go again.
Potentially look for it, but does have a...
Oh, the trap. Yordle trap actually caught Wafffle, yet the dragon's not down yet, and Wafffle comes charging on in. Will he steal a second dragon, especially if Asian Kid dies, which he does. Dragon picked up and secured for QASMT, and now it's Dakabin on the retreat. Monkey King main will get caught out, forced to go golden just to buy time. I like the decision making, though. QASMT instead peels away to try to take down LegendarySettGod, but time was bought for ChaosV to join the fight. pyten does go down, however, it does come at the cost of Monkey King main. On the back end, you can see LegendarySettGod getting some poke down, getting some DPS into the fray. ChaosV on the hunt, attempting to chase down Wafffle right now, who should be able to escape. Taunt does connect as LegendarySettGod starts to pitter-patter away at his health. Red buff or not, Wafffle in a bit of strife. Now running the opposite direction. There is a teleport, though, in play. Wafffle is actually going to look to rejoin this fight. He's teleported back in the lane, and now will be coming for the fight. Flash in, gets the taunt on the ChaosV, but that's not the target you want. LegendarySettGod is able to help get the kill. Meanwhile, up above, more action is Nin78 and Best Yuumi go for the one-on-one slicing. Maelstrom available for Nin78, but it's not going to be used in time. Down below, Angelicxz does go down despite the double top. Nin gets the kill up above, and it is chaos left, right, and center on Summoner's Rift.
Don't you love Queensland high school play? I mean, just not even Queensland, just high school League of Legends in general. It's fight, fight, fight from these young adults here as they're going head-to-head on the Rift. And, I mean, overall, I think Dakabin would say that's a win.
I would say that's what I'm seeing. 4 dead champions on the side of QASMT
but
right
they
now.
also died and just revived too, right?
And they didn't get the dragon, but at the end of the fray, it is the Dakabin side alive. They're the ones getting towers. They're getting the objectives. They have the gold lead. They have the kill lead. I'm leaning more towards that red side.
Yeah, precisely. But QASMT doing a good job to stay in it. Maybe staying in it a little bit too much too, as they kind of went, all right, we're just going to fight now. We're going to get real scrappy. And the one thing I've noticed with Dakabin in this game is they've had really, really poor objective setup. They've got really limited vision, or if they do have vision, they just don't react to it. They need to really make sure they're clearing out the vision of the area. They're making sure they have control of the area. There's a control ward still in the dragon pit from the first dragon steal that was put there in that brush of the ocean dragon. Also, not the first dragon steal from just after they took the mountain dragon, Dakabin did. But I mean, all 3 dragons should have been secured by Dakabin so far this game, but they've made 2 mistakes not setting up correctly, and as a result of being punished for it. And QASMT are in the prime position. The Vayne is starting to scale too. It's already completed that Blade of Ruin King, and given the fact that Caitlyn got so fed and came out of lane early, it's given Vayne the chance to kind of start farming up. She's still in that bot lane now, still cleaning up the CS, trying to catch up to how this Caitlyn, who was quite far ahead of her. And I feel like Vayne's got 2 items before she really comes online and tries to match the Caitlyn, but Caitlyn's got her crit finished already, so high damage output. Not DPS on this Dakabin side. That's the one thing they do lack. They lack damage per second, but total damage they do not.
What I find interesting about that last sort of extended exchange as well is why was best Yuumi and Nin78 fighting in the top lane? We didn't get to see how that got set up. That was very odd. That's what's been on my mind. Dark Binding nearly connecting on the retreating best. You know what I'm talking about, though?
What happened was Kennen was pushing. I was watching Minimap. Kennen pushed. Sylas walked up and just fought him. Like,
they just decided to have a scrap.
They just decided, we're going to fight now.
Look, the fight's happening down below.
Well, I think best Yuumi thinks you could take the Sylas. I would too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Sylas has got double pen, but he's got Super Soaker too.
Oh, Kennen's in trouble. Best Yuumi's in a lot of trouble. It's going to actually go in with the slicing maelstrom as he is completely surrounded by a bunch of angry dragons. That said, the heroic entrance might turn this fight around. QASMT has already found 2 dragons, and they're looking for more. Best Yuumi does go down, and Dakabin are still outmanned in this exchange, and they might have to back away. As this is happening, keep in mind, PhatPhanpy, we pointed him out down in bot lane before. He has now made it to that tower. That CS creeping up more and more, and we could be looking at that QASMT comeback.
I mean, the one thing I will say there for best Yuumi, he made a good play actually getting the kill into LegendarySettGod, but kind of like juked himself by trying to over-predict. He popped the Zonyas, and then his team, as his team was taking the pressure off and giving him a window to escape, he was just sitting there golden like, I pressed it at the wrong time. And then his team could only hold on for so long before they had to back off, and then he was just sitting here and full up Kennen and Zonyas like, hey, how you doing, guys? And Sylas just rocked up and went, okay, I'm going to take this kill now. Thank you for staying there and freezing in time for us, as unfortunately for best Yuumi did go down after making a decent-ish play, as the second Ocean Dragon will be spawning soon, and hopefully Dakabin can learn from their previous 2 mistakes and get correct setup around this dragon, as all members are moving in to look up and set up this vision line. And you can see ChaosV does have the Sten Unite available, but isn't in a side lane pushing. He's been playing around his team a lot as a split pushing Shen, which I suppose is you're supposed to do, but playing around his team in maybe not the way that Shen is good at playing around a team.
Especially considering the itemization that ChaosV has gone for. Like, that is a split push build.
Yeah.
So I would like to see...
Maximum wave clear.
Exactly. So I would have liked to see ChaosV actually playing topside right now to try and draw attention away. Instead, ChaosV is going to be using, I suppose, the heroic entrance to back and get a couple more items before this next fight. Now, every dragon has been initiated by Dakabin, but if you look at the dragon score, it is still 2 in favor of QASMT. They've been doing a good job at forcing Dakabin away. Will we see it again? That dragon is falling fast. Wafffle has to flash over the wall. Now in he goes, but he doesn't get the steal this time around. It's actually going to be Dakabin taking the bear out of the equation. Up above as well, Nin78 might be getting polymorph, but is still getting kills and looking to escape. A slicing maelstrom does not slow down the engage from ChaosV and Asian Kid, as ChaosV did rejoin the fray with the Stand United. The fight goes cleanly in favor of Dakabin.
Yeah, and that's a much better dragon. I think, again, a little bit misexecution on the setup. They didn't do it quite correctly. You know, you would have had Shen pushing in a side lane and then using the ult to come around and protect anybody, rather than engaging on the 5 members and keeping him distracted while the rest of the team finishes the dragon. I mean, at least it's some kind of proactive-ish setup. They can learn from the VOD and then maybe look at it and then learn correct setup with a split pusher, but split pushing is definitely a much harder thing macro-wise to kind of organize with the team to really work out how you apply pressure correctly and when to move in. It's a skill at the top lane you have to learn, and you really only learn that by playing, you know, a lot of Jax, a lot of Nasus really, and just kind of pushing until you die, and then you gotta learn, I'll only push this far until I die. I mean, look, we've got a friend who's only plays Jack Thanasis and still hasn't figured that out yet. But I mean, eventually people will. You know who I'm talking about.
I do. Angelicxz is actually taken quite low by the Baron right there. Forced to flash, but will go down to Angels and the Hex Tech item. Meanwhile, up above, a Dark Binding, a Condemn against the wall. Actually might take ChaosV out as well. Barely stays alive with the shield, but that does leave Nin78 exposed. Taunt connects from Angelicxz, and the fall of damage from QASMT is there. Baron throws in High School League of Legends. Name a more iconic duo as this blue side takes control of the pit.
And again, Dakabin Dragons not correct objective setup, getting pushed in here by the blue side, and they will now actually start up the dragon themselves. Of course, Vayne doesn't have the rage leg yet, so isn't going to shred through this Baron as fast as maybe she should, as LegendarySettGod is looking for something around the side.
Yeah, what I find interesting is, QASMT are completely aware. Very premature slicing. Maelstrom, Dark Binding connects. Kennen nearly goes down. Meanwhile, Teleport will be in the pit. I believe that is ChaosV joining the fray, looking for the big taunt. Only gets a couple, yet it's enough to take best Yuumi down. Baron still getting wailed upon by Wafffle, but now Waffle's in a very tight place. The damage will not be there. The Baron throw giveth, the Baron throw taketh, as Dakabin now going to pick right up where QASMT left off. They do secure the Baron, and now Dakabin are in position to try and end this game.
Oh, I mean, as good as this is for Dakabin, I think it's very bad for them in future games because they're not getting punished for making the mistakes around objective setup, because both teams are just kind of hitting these objectives as now QASMT go down, and I think they can probably end here. There are rather large death times on some of the key members. The Galio here, piloted by Angelicxz, is probably been one of the key performers here for QASMT that's been keeping him in the game, as well as best Yuumi, who's been playing quite aggressive. Obviously, that 6-6 KD ratio is quite symbolic of the way he's been playing this game. I don't care if I die, but I will kill you. Is the strategy employed here by the Kennen so far. Has been working, obviously not to full success, but as in him is being bared down, and as the rest of the team is respawning, it looks like Dakabin will back off, or no, they won't.
No, they're just going to rotate down.
I mean, they could back up, spend off their gold, because they have killed Baron and won a team fight and haven't backed yet. But that's okay. We'll stay here and not push our gold lead correctly.
Nah, it's get that second inhib and then try to end the game. That is what is in play for Dakabin right now. I think, yeah, okay, now they're going to pull away and do that smart thing, I believe. Although Chaos is going to take the scenic route. Going to take a good look at the blue side base before pulling out, but Dakabin is on the retreat for now. 2 inhibs down means QASMT on that back foot. It's going to be hard for them to sort of push out and disrupt these recalls. I like ChaosV clearing the jungle on the way out, just being thorough, making sure no resources are available for this blue side, and Dakabin are now going to be more than prepared to try and end this game.
Correct. I believe they should, obviously, I really hope they send Shen bot, rest of the team up to the top side and just shove it down the rest of these towers to clear out the game. Of course, the dragon will spawn in a minute, but I think it's a waste of focus here for Dakabin. There's no way they're going to get 2 more dragons because by that point, Vayne is going to be well and truly strong and ready to go.
I think one good thing perhaps by putting priority on this dragon would be you could be forcing that game-ending fight, but it could also go the other way. Slicing Maelstrom gets a stun onto Monkey King Main, who is forced to go golden, but will go down immediately. And this is why Dakabin probably should have avoided that pit entirely. Heroic entrance from ChaosV onto Agent Kid into the Cataclysm, gets everyone. LegendarySettGod finally looks to rejoin the fight, gets a bit of damage down as Nin78 comes from above. QASMT, the damage just is not there, and Dakabin wins the fight and will win the game.
Yeah, as the new Storm Razor slow comes through, helps them pick up that last kill. Vayne and Galio are the 2 left standing, but there's not much they can do against a wave of Baron dub supers, as Galio won't even get to back and will get taken down. Oh, actually, I don't know if he's...
Oh, he's going down. Angelicxz is going down. Nin78 picks up another one. It's all on PhatPhanpy at the moment. I believe I pronounced that name right. Sorry if that is wrong. Either way, first Nexus Tower goes down. The next one not long for the world afterwards. You can condemn all you like, but ChaosV is in your face, so Phat has to retreat back to the fountain. Ace in the hole gets the kill. Nexus goes down, and Dakabin continues their tear in Metro North as they remain the #1 team.
Yeah, it was a very nice 30-minute win there from Dakabin Dragons. I will have to say, it's probably not the best if you're a coach of Dakabin. Obviously, it's good to get a win, but they never got really punished for their mistakes. Of course, there was a couple of dragons that got stolen away in the Baron. Let's not but overall, very good performance, good drafts from both sides, and it was actually quite an even back and forth game. It was, I say even, but QASMT didn't get any objectives outside of the ones they stole away. I don't think they got any towers, but Obviously, they got one in bot lane when there was that fight on the other side of the map. But overall, I think, decent game from both sides, and there's definitely good sides to both. And I think, if they have a good coach, someone who knows a lot about the game, you can definitely look through these VODs, and there's a lot to learn from both these sides, winning and losing. And it's very rare you get a game that is kind of something both teams have a very good learning opportunity to take from it.
I think that's just it exactly. Like, even Dakabin, who won this game, their mistakes are easily noticeable and easily correctable, just in terms of like where they're prioritizing, what they're prioritizing on the map at key moments. The big one that stands out to me was that Baron, or sorry, not the Baron, the Dragon towards the end of the game, that last Ocean Drake that they really didn't need. They weren't going to be getting a soul.
They shouldn't have gone for that fight. No. I mean, they shouldn't have won it either, right? There was a good engaged fight, and it was just a little bit the PhatPhanpy. I think it's Phanpy like the Pokemon, right?
It is like the Pokemon. Oh, that's now it's adorable. It went from.
I think it's the Pokemon, little blue.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, the Vayne there was not in the fight, so you didn't have your main form of DPS, and by that time, LegendarySettGod had picked up their first Azil items, which gives Caitlyn that extra bit of DPS. That's why Caitlyn kind of falls off in the mid game as she's builds those first two big crit items, so she's a lot of damage, but the constant, consistent damage isn't there until she ramps up that attack speed a little bit, and then she one-hits people with 3 auto attacks. So
yeah,
you gotta love that when the Caitlyn gets scaling. I mean, LegendarySettGod obviously the MVP for this game.
Ooh, all right. I hear you. I was going to suggest someone different, actually. I was going to suggest Monkey King main just for a lot of the stock bindings.
But bot lane.
I think we just throw it to bot lane. Because Monkey King main, we didn't highlight them too much in the game. Don't worry when you're going back and watching this VOD, Monkey King. I saw those dark bindings. They were on point. It looked like a 75 or 80% hit rate through that all. So I saw them. Wafffle as well, I think, deserves an honorable mention for those Dragon Steals. That first one in particular, getting in, getting the steal, getting out. 9 times out of 10, that probably doesn't work as cleanly as it does. However, it still was an exciting play, but was not enough for QASMT to find the victory. Dakabin continuing to be #1 in the ladder right now, and that question kind of remains: Dakabin versus Indrapilli. When do we get to see these two go at it?
I wonder if Dakabin's actually played Hillbrook yet, because Hillbrook, of course, came third there. I mean, I suppose technically the second best team in Queensland now is McGregor, the team that did win last split.
They have disbanded.
Disappeared, so they don't exist so much anymore. So it is just Indro and Hillbrook who are probably the two best. Maybe Somerset is an outsider in terms of lane play. I mean, their thing was they were inconsistent with their roster. If they look much stronger. They've had obviously 2 pentakills in back-to-back weeks, 1v5 basically. So that's a good sign of 2 different players too. So obviously 2 very strong focal points for that team. And when we get into the playoffs, you obviously see all these teams go head-to-head again. I can't remember if it's 2 from the metro regions and then 1 from the other ones, or how exactly qualification for that top.
Well, if you want to find out that answer, be sure to ask our helpful admins in the Discord, who will explain to you any questions you might need to have answered. Wombat's Pew, I believe, is Tennille's Discord, so just ask her. Don't ask me. I don't know. Ask Tennille. Anyways, I believe that will conclude us for today here at the Regional Rift. Big thank you once more to Legion by Lenovo for helping sponsor this event. Big thank you to the University of Queensland and UQU Esports. Thank you to all of you watching and all the teams participating, and we look forward to seeing you next week, as I believe their group stages are getting close to winding up, so games are going to mean a lot more. I'm expecting more high-level gameplay when we come back. Until then, I'm Formal. Joining me, Midge Replays Anderson, and we'll see you then.
Good night.